So last time the question had come, is it okay to play games that have female characters? And we had said that when it comes to issues of entertainment, whether it be watching TV shows or watching the news or even playing video games, that the issue that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preventing and protecting us from falling into is zina. So if there's an attraction that's there from an individual, then that is something that he or she should not be watching. Saying that as long as the person is dressed modestly. Now, how do you define modesty? Modesty is going to be different depending on the person. For a Muslim woman, she is required to wear a hijab. She's required to cover her body, everything except her hands and her face, and there's khilaf over the feet. Men, their awrah has to be covered, and that is between the navel and the knee. But again, they should be covered as much as possible. As far as women are concerned, then a non-Muslim woman is not expected to wear hijab. Right? This is not an expectation she has from the Sharia, because the hijab is a very specifically Muslim sign. So if a woman is not wearing hijab, then you cannot say that this is something that is haram. The Prophet ﷺ used to deal with women. You have a very clear hadith on Hajj. He ﷺ kana ala rahilatihi. He was on his riding animal, and Fadl was sitting behind him. And Fadl was sitting behind him. People were coming to the Prophet ﷺ. So just imagine this image where you have the Prophet ﷺ sitting and people are gathering around him. Why are they gathering? Because they want to ask him fatwa. They want to ask him questions. So he ﷺ, he's looking at everyone and he's answering their questions. And then the companion narrating the hadith, he says, then this beautiful woman comes forward. This beautiful woman comes forward and she says that my father has passed. Can I make hajj on his behalf? To the end of the hadith. But here the Prophet ﷺ, he's talking to her. Where do you think he's looking? He's addressing her, right? He's addressing her and he's talking to her. And then he sees her and she's glancing, right? He sees her and she's glancing. What is she looking at? She's looking at Fadl. Fadl, shab, he was a young man. So he looks back at Fadl and Fadl is like, he's kind of like staring. He's staring at this woman. And then what does the Prophet ﷺ do? He looks back, he sees Fadl, and he pushes Fadl's face like this. As a reminder that, because you're attracted to this woman, don't stare. Don't look at her. This is not appropriate. And this is where the tahrim is. But many times, like right now, newscasters, you have male newscasters, you have female newscasters. When you go to stores, you have male cashiers, you have female cashiers. Waiters, waitresses, right? We deal with all of these different people. The purpose is not to walk around life looking down at the ground, right? That's not the purpose. The purpose is when you do ghadd al-basar, when you are to lower your gaze. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about it as a metaphor, because He doesn't mean physically lower and look down. Sometimes when you look down, you'll get in more trouble, right? So here He Azza wa Jal, He's talking about looking away, right? Actually looking away. That when I see a woman, or if a woman sees a man and they feel this sense of attraction, this is where my test is going to be, and this is where I should look away. This is where I should look away. And this first glance is the one that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me. And it is that point, that's where the test is. Because how am I going to lower my gaze if I don't know what I am looking at? Right, so this is something that's really important when it comes to day-to-day interactions, when it comes to day-to-day dealings. Like, we are constantly dealing with each other, right? Like, men will constantly deal with women will constantly deal with men. We have to have a respectful relationship. We need to have a respectful relationship, and part of that respectful relationship is knowing where to define some of these boundaries. So when you have such situations, whether it be for TV or movies, or whether it be for the news or video games, the idea and the purpose is, again, that an individual, his shahwa is not aggravated, right? His sexual desire is not aggravated. And if it is, then that is something that he probably shouldn't be playing, something that he shouldn't be watching, something that he shouldn't be enjoying. I wish to immigrate to America and marry. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Well, I guess this brings another good question. Is it okay for me to marry someone and part of my intention is that I want a green card, right? So you have brothers, you have sisters, they want to marry someone, and part of the intention is that they want to come and live in the United States. Is that a wrong intention? Yes, it is. Okay. أفتى الشيخ خلاص. Is getting a green card halal or haram? It's halal. So if I marry a woman because I want to be intimate, if I marry a woman because she's beautiful, are these halal things? Yes. So if a green card is also halal, is it permissible, again, for part of my intention to be for that? Right? And this is the question I want to ask. Why do we get married? We get married because we want to establish what? Families, right? We get married because we want to establish families. If I'm getting extra bonuses out of this marriage, is that a good thing or a bad thing? It's good, right? We try to, anything we do, any dealing that we have, we try to maximize and get the most out of that deal. And not just that, this relationship, is anybody forced into a marriage? No, right? It's a choice. If I know this person's situation, the only thing that I would say is that when we are approaching this situation, when we go to get married, that we be honest. There's a lot of deceit, unfortunately. People will lie about their age. Now, like mashallah, tabarakallah, because of all of these apps, you can even lie about how you look. You can lie about what you do. But going forward, it's very important, very important. And I know I have a lot of youth that complain to me. They say, when I go online, when I go on these apps, like, you don't know who the people are on the app. So I usually respond to them, I was like, you only need one. Like, you don't need to worry about all of the other hundreds of people who are false on there. You just need one. In sifting, it's tiring, right? Going through and trying to find the right person, and it takes time. But this is marriage. Right, it's not going to like buy a car or to buy a video game. Like, this is somebody who you hope you will invest in for the rest of your life, and that person will invest in you. So what do you have to do? You have to work hard, right? Anything that is worthy of getting, anything that is worthy of your time, you have to work hard for it, right? It's not going to fall into your lap. And part of that is going through this process. It's difficult. I know it's tough. Especially, like, marriage is very challenging. There's a lot of choices, for a lot of people. Yeah, تفضل يا أخي. I'm sorry. So, this is actually an excellent point. If my intention is only to get the green card, and I'm going to divorce her, haram, ما يجوز, right? Because I'm going into the marriage with the intention of divorce. This is haram. This is not permissible. If I'm going into the marriage with, like, okay, I'm going to, like, and this happens in the Muslim world, where they're like, okay, I'm going to travel to this place for X amount of time, and after I come back, I'm going to divorce the woman. Haram, ma yajuz. Because you're destroying the culture of marriage, right? You're destroying the institution of marriage. I said, did someone have? Yeah, tafadhal. I'm not going to say it is muta, but is it is it parallel to it? Yes, for sure. I mean, in going in with the intention of divorcement, people lose trust in each other, right? People lose trust in each other. So this was happening. This was happening in a few countries in the Muslim world, and I'm not going to mention them because I know some people might get upset. But there was happening in a few countries in the Muslim world. So what did the people stop doing? They stopped marrying their daughters to foreigners. Like, they just stopped. They said, we don't trust any foreigners anymore. Before, they thought they were well-intentioned. They thought they were coming for a good reason. They're coming to marry our daughters. Our daughters are going to be taken care of. And then, after they saw that their daughters just kept getting sent back and they were abused, these parents, what did they do? They said, "Khalas, we're done. We don't want to marry foreigners." And then we complain, "Oh, we can't marry outside the culture. We can't do." Because part of the reason is because some of us, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our sons and daughters, is because they married for the wrong reasons. Tafadhal ya akhi. Mm-hmm. Then it's muta for sure. Then it's muta for sure. Yeah, that's muta. That's exactly what muta is. It's haram. Why is that? Because what is muta? Muta is a time-restricted marriage. It's a time-restricted marriage. And what is the time restriction for the green card? 3 years. So either the 3-year mark is going to come, or any time before that, I'm going to divorce you. And this is not permissible with the fact. Yeah. If she knows or doesn't know, it's irrelevant. If she doesn't know, it's worse. Right? Yeah. If she doesn't know, it's worse. Allah ustad. And not just that. Which one of us would want our daughters to be dealt with in that way? You know what I mean? Like, all of us, we hope to, when we marry our daughters, that our daughter is in a safe place, right? And she's with someone who is going to care for her and is going to protect her and hopefully give us grandchildren, right? These are all things that we want, Who wants to send their daughter to someone and like a few weeks later, she's back in your house again? Maybe abused, maybe hurt, maybe, taken advantage of. And then what happens to her psyche? How does she view men after that? And, we really need to think about these things, our views toward marriage. We need to adjust them a little bit. But may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect our families. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.